Or something can happen sometimes, the life for its own sake. For example, a dog can sense a tsunami coming and run to the top.
Yes.
So our brain also can suddenly foresee something. Not why, it is why then dog can see the tsunami is coming. How a small ant can see the earthquake is coming and shuttering their caves, they all come to the surface.
All is embedded in jinn? I don't know.
Not jinn, all is embedded in this processes of life itself.
So how can the future come?
So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot, through thinking, capture it and utilize it. Then it will be the story of Back to Future. You can't grab it. Your frustration is because you want that way. Otherwise, it has no value. You want to keep yourself safe, so you want to know the future. Otherwise, what is the problem of future?
But how it comes?
It doesn't come. What I'm saying is that it gives an illusion. See, the way we sort out the information is very different. You may hear the story that, oh, I suddenly saw something. And after 4 years, when I saw that,
yes,
I remember.
Yes. That has happened many times. How? Actually, I have seen places, I will name the thing, Puri.
Yeah, it's nothing. Look, the way your brain is processing information without your knowledge.
Without my knowledge.
Without your knowledge. Yes. Is so enormous that you don't know. For example, I have clearly seen a complete landscape which looked like 1,500 years old. And I also saw a future destruction right in front of my eyes. This is all are embedded in the capacity that is handed down to human as power of imagination. As a boy, when I was reading a small storybook my grandmother was reading, I could see these characters because that is the power of imagination that is handed down to us through human generations, that gives us the faculty to produce through our imagination the thing that is coming to our ear, what I hear. In the book, I could see Ram, Lakshman, Krishna is playing, because this is how they have been created, the stories inside our mind. So obviously they are there as information. So anytime anything can suddenly, Swami Vivekananda can just appear in front of me. That's not a problem.
But sometimes some people...
It does. So what? This is all there.
This is all there.
Yes. In your language, every imaginative images are already embedded.
Nothing is beyond imagination.
Nothing that you can ever know can come without that power of imaginative faculty.
Actually, I sometimes hear some voices.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to imagine that it is imagination.
Deciphering mechanism itself has to come through the filter of imagination. There is nothing you can do.
Nothing beyond.
There is no beyond. Beyond itself is this body which is carrying the history of life from the beginning of time. This single body. So as her body, my body. In us, the way the whole brain structure has been put together, which can think, has the history from the beginning of time itself of life. Entire history is embedded there. History. Entire history.
And evolutionary history.
Absolutely everything. Because it is not here just like this. It has a continuity from the beginning of time.
How can I pull the thread and the thread becomes a rope?
See, that is the thing. What I am saying is that your imagination, which can think, is not in touch with that. That's the problem. You close your eyes, you have no way of knowing what is going on. Without the knowledge, the heart is beating. No way. There is no imaginative power can tell you through meditation how the bloods are going through, RBCs and WBCs are engaging, and all this.
No, it can't.
No way. You just imagine it through the knowledge that's handed down to you something called neuron, something called, your eyes don't need to know anything about neuron just to see the world as it is.
Yes.
Nothing. So your knowledge is singularly incapable of being in touch with their operation altogether. You cannot. But it's a deductive fact that they are there.
Yeah.
It is there. It is working. That's why we are talking. So what is there inside you? What is there inside her? Everybody? Unfortunately, our education did not teach us to appreciate the beauty and the grandeur of the operation of this intelligence inside us. What they have hyped us to do is to give importance to something that we don't have, and they are forcing us to understand and worship and admire. They did not tell us that we are all endowed with several $billion. Only difference between you and me, you have a slightly different shape of nose and I have a slightly different shape of nose. We have created a beauty. Your nose is beautiful than mine. That is $1 million. This is zero. That's all we have done. We have been conditioned from the beginning so much that we don't look at another human being minus through these filters of conditioning at all. We can, singularly.
If you can rear a child with minimum conditioning.
See, that is the problem. The problem is there is no choice. This art has been taken over by the human society. There is not one single square inch of ground that you can tell it's free from human invention.
Yes, it is a very bad part. I don't know.
But what to do? You can't even sit there somewhere. Some guy will come and tell, hey, get out, get out. This is government land.
Yes.
You see, what do? So the child that is now being born, that you want to take care of, your imminent thing is that you have to teach him the ways of the life here on earth now. There is no choice. And he is born with an intelligence that can accept your challenge, and his brain is going to work out a solution to overcome that challenge and go one step ahead all the time. That is the property of the brain. The moment he is there, he is feeling a pressure and challenge from his surroundings. It's the rule of the game. Every single brain is going to face this challenge. And each brain is so unique that it will always try to find a unique way to solve its problem. That's why I call it subject-specific functional reality. That the way that particular brain, which was born in a very specific parents, in a very specific society and environment and knowledge, is going to adapt certain way to find its functioning. That's all. It wants to function. It wants to overcome the pressure that everybody is putting.
And his or her greed also.
This is the part of the whole game. You are constantly, see, we call reward and punishment.
Yeah.
For example, this body, for the sake of its own nutrition and survival, develops certain acceptance of a sensation and rejection of sensation. That's all. What it calls is liking, disliking. If you try to hurt a baby, it's going to cry. It's already given that there is a resistance. The body's entire proprioception knows what is good for itself. So accordingly, it looks like he or she is rearing towards that. That he is comfortable with, he is going there. That he is not comfortable with, he is going away from there. That's the whole reward and punishment. And then on the top of that, you are going to create an entire system of sound, which we call this language.
Language, yes.
Yes. And you will make him know that you are good, you are bad. This act is good, this act is bad. So you are already completely giving him a series of reward and punishment business. If you do this, it's good, you will get the candy. If you're not, you will get the whack. So accordingly, his brain and how they work out, how they process the information, the way the body's chemistry uses to reject something, to accept something, the same chemical repertoire is available through the information to enact the whole process of the body. So there is no choice. They tried to create a school missionary school, this school, that school. It's not. Just not possible. There is no way there is a child going to grow without conditioning. Not possible. So if he or she is lucky, he'll begin to challenge your system.
Because you see, just if you take the fire.
Yeah.
So the word fire and agun or in un is agun and un is better than fire. Actually, so for sound and reaction is you touch the fire, ooh. There is, in fire there is no ooh. So there should be a language.
Yeah.
If a child is brought up without any language, and if it is
would you do this experiment with your son? No.
No.
That will be a cruel joke.
Yeah. But what is the proper language?
There are people who try to see whether a child needs mother's touch or not. It's a cruel joke. To understand, it's like.
But you were telling the known or unknown thing. There are persons who actually accept unknown thing, likes to accept unknown thing.
No, there is no such thing as accepting the unknown thing. The limitation of the known itself, accepting the limitation of the known is all you can do. There is no accepting unknown. What's the action? It's no action.
Now, there are personalities who likes to or easily accept or easily devote time to unknown.
So what I'm trying to say is that there are certain personalities who are wise enough to accept the reality of the condition that is imposed on them. This is the reality that I was born in a Bengali family. I have to accept it completely. I can't be unhappy that I was not born in an English family. If I do, nobody can take away my pain. Can anyone?
No.
Because it's done. The concerns are very realistic, like, can I do anything about my genetic makeup? So I don't worry about it. So the instrument which is there should focus on something which has some meaning to itself. What was I in the past life? If I start worrying or trying to discover, it will be a very funny consequences.
Wastage of time.
Exactly. Because our court system and the ownership system has evolved in a way that they don't give importance to it. Otherwise, I'll go and tell, in last birth, I was here, this is my property. Or go to a beautiful girl and tell, last birth you were my wife. And you have to now come and sleep with me. Come on!
The worst will come in the bank. If you go to the bank, and ask me, this account is my. This account is my past account.
You are so happy that it is not so.
No.
Imagine somebody comes and tells you, give your all properties.
Yeah.
You were my husband in my last life. You will run for your life, buddy.
The time will come. Everyone will be conscious about the pre-birth.
They tried, it didn't work. The human brain understood the reality of the present. Because the thing that you see is the most important thing, not the thing you think.
Then why Maya is...
That is the Maya.
That is the Maya.
That is Maya. Maya, the illusion is what you see is a force of nature that is unfolding inside you to make you see the way it is supposed to be seen. Absolutely.
It's supposed to be seen, yes.
Yes, because if I throw this and if you don't see, you think it is a flower, you are dead duck, buddy. It has to be exactly the way it is. What you think about it is the beginning of creation of illusion.
Oh, what do you think
about what you see? Because thinking requires illusion. It started with measurement. All thoughts function with comparison and measurement. In physics, we had to discover unit. Otherwise, we can't express anything. Unit is meter, centimeter, age, time, year, second, everything. You have to have some unit. Only through unit, you become conscious of the other thing which has a relationship with that. This is big, this is small. How big compared to that small? So you create a relationship. That is the measurement. So all thoughts are sort of model measurements. Without reference, there is nothing. Thinking cannot proceed. So the sound Suman is the reference sound there. That's the central theme of the information repertoire.
What about erasing the thing? If one challenges oneself.
There is no erasing. The erasing mechanism doesn't work. Because as long as that structure is there, Suman will become Maharaja so-and-so.
But the thing remains the same.
The central idea is going to be there. Whether you become a queen of so-and-so or PhD, delete LLD or something, or change the name to some Anand or some John, or if you baptize yourself, or Ali Akbar Sahab, or whatever.
Swami Vatkananda.
Swami Vatkananda. Whatever you do, the center which never existed other than our imagination can only go when the imaginative faculty, whatever it is created, the information structure, if it loses its structure itself, that is what they call this Moner Loy or Moner Dhangsha. That structure, if it's not there, there is no center. Center was never there anyway.
So it is. It should be there for a new class of knowledge.
Now you are going to project. Find out. It's not a projection. You don't know. It's an unknown. You can project to something that you have no idea about. You can only know what you heard, what you can think.
How does this knowledge is disturbed by bliss or ananda?
Knowledge is something that is created out of this competition. You want something. Without that want, there is no knowledge.
But how is bliss or ananda? How is
there is
joy?
There is no such thing as bliss, joy, ananda, anything. If you are very hungry, put a small drop of food, the body will release some chemical. You can name it. You don't go for shit 3 days, you are forced to stay one place and then suddenly you are let to go. Or some other discharge mechanism. So you will interpret them as whatever, pleaser.
If you have a poetic romantic inclination, you will describe it as,
yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. Say you are carrying certain ideas in your head as an imminent end of an empire that you are carrying on. My son, my daughter, my family, my business, my engineering, my search, my all this, heavy load. Suddenly, it's all gone. The upliftment that is going to come on a burdened system itself is a huge feeling. If you don't name it, it's fine. But you name it, you can write hundreds of pages of poetry.
But it will be not actually a complete description yet.
There is no description without the known. What description you will give? Some Apsara, some this, some Brahman, some big creation, cycle of life and death. Body is just like a vehicle, short, and Atman is going like a body going up, merging another body. All this, everything is just, what else can you do? Try something new. It will be combination of the old.
Combination of the old.
Like the Fourier transform.
Transmission of knowledge from one person to another person.
Yeah.
Is most important thing, because
that's why we created books.
Yes. But how Gita was told to Arjun.
Yeah.
Whole and all the.
So why Gita? All religious textbooks are said in the same way. But God has given the platter to.
Okay.
What is that guy's name on the mountain? Moses. 10 commandments.
But unlike other things, that two armies were ready to fight, and the two person. One was telling Gita, and one was hearing and they standed just how
all kahani. Veda Vyasa is a very brilliant writer.
If you read the Gita, it will at least take 1 hour.
More than 1 hour.
That is
what
the army was standing.
Listen, that is what I had to do
Huh?
Every week. I had to mug up this whole thing. That was the part of the curriculum my mother sent me there.
Oh, acha. Your
Bhagavad Gita. The mother's guru's ashram.
Yeah.
So, and then teacher will explain us. Next week, I have to stand up and give my version of understanding. Yeah, because that is how they will test whether my understanding is going against the norm or not.
Against the norm.
It's going to challenge their
If I challenge, they'll tell you didn't understand.
Oh, it is bad. Challenge should
to
be
work hard.
So that's why he's telling all intelligence is given to you to prove that your scripture is correct. Any intelligence which is trying to prove that the scripture is wrong is intelligence that has gone to wrong. Like that is how the God and the devil is created. It is the devil who is giving you the idea to challenge the God's authority. So has every religious ideas. They are all like that. You know, Buddha was one of the original, what they call it, atheist.
Yes, original.
Original atheists, like who stood up, challenged the existence of God, Atma, altogether. Those who challenged the authorities of Vedas were termed as Nastika. Those who accept the authority of Vedas were called Astika. So Buddha was the first Nastika. But he had done everything that the Indian saints were prescribed to do. And he came back and experienced everything and gave a complete alternative explanation, created another model called Buddhism. He did sit down, he did meditation, he went to forest, did everything to find out what they are telling is correct or not. He found that is not right. So he created another. So what happened, what I call is the one who challenged the authority and created the most iconoclastic image. He was the number one iconoclast at that time, Buddha. Like Muhammad, broke all the polytheistic religious ideas and beliefs and images of God. Nothing he accepted. Entire Vedas and Purushottam and everything. He rejected everything. So he was the number one iconoclast at that time. And his followers, and he himself became the number one icon in the world.
But at that time, he was not called Asur. And why he was accepted?
Because he was telling the wisdom of Upanishad in his own way. And it resonated to the scholar's mind.
The scholars accepted first?
Yeah, many intelligent people accepted the way he was explaining everything. Because they had no choice. He was just showing them that what was important in their life.
Sri Chaitanya had opportunity of arguing many Pandits. Were there any Pandits during the Buddha who Buddha actually invited for arguments?
No, they also have this Dhamma battle.
Oh, they
also have Dhamma battle, like battle of the Dhamma. Dhamma is the religious battle. But he never participated in the Tarka.
Oh, that I was asking.
He never participated in that kind of thing. What Shankara was doing.
Yes.
Going there and arranging a Tarka and then proving. But in that Tarka, there was a first condition. If it is a Tarka among the Hindus, you first accept the authorities of Veda. Otherwise, there is no Tarka. So, yes, that you have to accept the authorities of Veda.
Otherwise, the Tarka is finished.
That is what the whole Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, everything has created. That is what happens. Even Buddhism has broken into several sects.
Oh, all religions are.
Yeah. Even though you accept the Buddha, though you accept Quran, even though you accept Bhagavad Gita, or even though you accept a particular first idea of, say, Jesus, you accepted Jesus. But then how many sections are there? Hundreds of different. So even though you accept Jesus, you create a subsect. You don't accept all the rituals that they are accepted. So you create another sect. So it starts breaking.
The creation of sect, did it happen at a time or by phases?
No, for example, Jesus didn't accept the Jewish authority. He created his own. Said he was I am the way, follow me.
Yes.
So as Krishna, Sarva dharma parityajya mamaka saranam braje.
Oh, it helped. Actually, some people are confused. Where to go, where to go, where to go.
Yes. So in the field of knowledge, somebody is sick. This guy has the right knowledge of the biology of this body. I would rather listen to your quirky, junk, old father's, grandmother's tale than him. His knowledge is more systematic knowledge. Your is also knowledge. You don't understand.
But this is not.
This is not systematic. It's not proved. So if you make a plane with your wacky ideas, I'll never go there. I'll go there with an engineer who accepted the modern science and made the plane. So are you. You are not going to go if somebody says, okay, put your wings. I know. Allah mujhe dikhaya, aap chale jayenge. Allahu Akbar udhari. Every day you do that. You go to a doctor who writes a medicine. He himself doesn't know what are all these components are doing to you. He is completely dependent on the factory and the scientists who are producing this and text. And 9 out of 10 has given that this works. I would rather hear the 10th one. What is he telling?
No, actually nowadays doctor, especially in India, dependent on medical representative.
Yes, because they are... See, the medical representative is a businessman who has been taught by the company's representative. You go and tell this doctor, this paper you give, he will read it, doctor will read it. Because doctor doesn't have time to understand what is going on in the biochemistry. What is the interaction between protein and the antibiotic? That's a scientist's lifetime work. So you do depend on them, don't you? Otherwise, all foods are processed food. If you don't trust them, you don't eat it. But you don't trust that you think you are really believing. Those there inside these little chapels and things like that.
But every sect has one very intelligent person behind it. He can convince what he has not felt. He has known, not felt it. There is a difference.
There is no feeling without knowledge.
But you see what you have uttered in some of the books. That sometimes all the factors are going to zero and something boring, you are convinced. And in my language, it is a feeling. It is not a knowledge, a pandit's knowledge to teach someone else.
Look, that cannot be established through an argument.
No.
It is a very phenomenal experience and understanding.
Yes.
For example, I am going to a road where there is a particular bend. Whenever I go there, I get a scratch. So I discovered there are some very transparent thorns up there, which I don't see. Then I discovered
thorns.
Then I discovered it really bothers me.
Yeah.
I know where it extension. I made my path. And then I go. I don't get scratched. I created a functional reality. Others don't see.
Others don't see.
But I know where I get this scratch. Same way, I go to a place. I feel good. I don't have to tell anybody why I feel good. The fact is in its own effectiveness and work. I feel good. Gives me strength, vitality. Because when I feel good, my whole entire body begins to work in a different way. The cells which is under conflict is producing some toxin which when I feel good, they don't. No conflict, no pressure, no future that is lurking which is going to kill me is not there. Body is under relaxed condition. In the relaxed condition, the body begins to work in its own way. So if this is all my phenomenal discovery, I don't need to know all these things. I create my own reality. But that you cannot impose onto anybody.
No. But the thing that if the body or your mind is always fighting for a long time, it has its own system change to fight. And suddenly all the fighting factor is off. Does the body feel uneasy?
Body never gives up fighting. If it gives up fighting, you are a history.
Oh, body always fights.
That is its work. The heart, if it wants to rest. Hello?
No. But in evolutionary point of view,
yes,
the intense fighter for a long time evolve much faster. Is it true?
Which way? What is evolvement? If the ability to survive is a measurement.
Ability to survive and...
If it is a measurement, we are no better than the cockroaches.
Yes, no better than the cockroaches.
What is the measurement? I want to know what is the measurement. You want to live forever. Not happening. And the way you think you should. Be a Raja and use anybody you want to use. Be happy all the time. But everybody will sing the praise of you. Maharaj ki jai ho.
But a wise Maharaj will know these are all false. Wise Maharaj will well, they are not from their heart. Or this Maharaj goes to a foolish life.
They're the representative of a very specific value system. They're enjoying the power of the organization. That's all.
Not for heart. It is not.
Well, if you look for it, it's in you, nowhere outside.